someone broke a law. If you cannot take responsibility for that initial action, you wouldn't have any of these other issues going on. I am, like I said, I am a lifetime Democrat. I am a social worker. But I know our system is overburdened. And there are reasons why it is overburdened. And it is not because of the taxpayers totally that are United States citizens. Sir, I ask you the problem is three-pronged. The employers hire people who are here illegal.
True.
The government does not enforce the laws we have on the books already. And then we have people coming over here illegally. Fix those problems. And sir, I also know a great lady in Nebraska, politicians in 1990 told me, a very small people who are very well organized can change laws. You see it right here tonight, very well organized. I am asking you, I am a lifelong Democrat, but I am asking you to stand strong, because otherwise you're sending a wrong message. You're sending a wrong, I've waited in line. You're sending a wrong message. If you do something illegal, you will eventually be rewarded. Thank you.
Thank you.
Joe Luff, you voted against repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. You have not been a supporter of the Employment Non-Discrimination Act, nor have you been a supporter, and you have supported the defense of marriage. I'm just wondering, when are you going to realize that there is a vibrant GLBT community in the 2nd Congressional District? We're taxpayers, we're homeowners, we're business owners, we're veterans, and we're voters.
Go ahead.
And I'd like for anyone in the audience who knows me in my professional arena to please respect my opinions as my own. I'm not here to represent anyone but myself. My concern is a lot with the deficit and the wars that we have going on overseas. I respect a lot of the other issues. It's not that I don't respect them, but I, in my personal opinion, believe that we are on the brink in less than 30 days to begin open enrollment on a law that is going to bring us to our knees, in my opinion. We already have how much deficit, and we're putting trillions and trillions more into that. Part of the reason why our healthcare system is burdened, it does have to do with immigration. Folks have a hard time buying a policy because they don't have a social security number, so they go to the emergency room. If we don't have some type of immigration reform, we're going to continue to have that problem. And healthcare reform, what does it mean? Just more money, just more debt. And so what I'm wondering is, pardon me, I know that the Republicans are vehemently against healthcare reform, but aside from trying to repeal it, what are we trying to do? If it's here to stay, what are we going to try to do to make it successful if it's here to stay?
There's a lot that has to be done to make that successful. And it's so deeply rooted in government making the decisions that it's hard for me to support that. Obviously, I'm going to take my chances or my opportunities to try and repeal that and actually have people involvement and try and replace that with a bill that actually, A, goes after the costs and provides affordable health care opportunities to those that don't have insurance.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I'd really like to see some type of reform that helps to formalize to make strong our community health centers that do help some of the lower income individuals. Because all I've seen right now is insurance reform. I've not seen any type of health care reform.
I agree with that.
That really concerns me, because we say, well, we want everyone to have insurance, but that doesn't address the issue with the cost.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that costs were never considered.
Congressman, my name is Bob Hutton. Yesterday in KFAB, they advertised you being on before your arrival. KFAB announcer Jim Rose commented that for President Obama to support the Keystone Pipeline, another pipe would have to be in place wherein a water slide-like fashion, illegal immigrants, his words, not mine, would have to be spirited into Nebraska. They would somehow fall out of a pipe. It would be like a big water slide. This got a big laugh from a lot of the other announcers, and I've heard this type of humor many times on KFAB. Leads me to believe that dog whistle messages about certain groups of people that denigrate them is really popular with people who vote for you. Now, I don't think you're going to have to wait very long for a Republican congressman, possibly Steve King, I don't know, to make another racist statement. What's it going to take for you to publicly denounce that?
For Steve King's comment, it took me all the next morning to publicly denounce that comment. And that was in the World Herald.
Good afternoon, Congressman Terry. My name is Donnie Cervantes, and I am from here, Omaha, Nebraska. I've lived here all my life. I rank at the top of my class. I love my country, which would be this country. Why do you not want my family and I, who have contributed so much to be citizens here, why do you want us to be second-class citizens? I am a dreamer, and I am very active in my community. I am amongst many where we represent and live Nebraskan values, yet we are not treated equally to those who are American citizens. What holds you back from providing us a pathway to citizenship?
Well, I'll be blunt. I don't think that somebody that came here illegally, regardless of whether the system is broken, there's a lot of people that came here and waited and came here legally. And so the issue is, I am willing to give them a legal status as long as we have the other parts. There's still a lot of people that would say, since they came here illegally, that they should be deported and they have to go home and start all over again. And so the issue then is, when others have come, or others have waited a long time and paid a lot of money, why should they get a pathway to citizenship when others have done it the correct way? I have a problem with that. That's a philosophical issue, but you asked me a question and I wanted to provide you an honest answer.
I'm Margaret Rezac, and thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm going to give you a short review of my life. My grandparents on both my parents' side were immigrants. I was married to a Mexican for over 20 years. They came and they taught their children both languages, English and their own. My husband now, his parents came over and they taught their children. And if the Mexican people would stop telling us Americans that we have to learn English, and I had this in my own job, that we have to learn Mexican because they don't want to learn English. You go to South Omaha, it looks like Mexico, there's no English there. This is wrong. This is what we Americans call by. I don't care who you are. I was born and raised here. I think if you want to be here, then you should learn our language and do by our rules. You can laugh, ma'am. You laugh at me. I don't care. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's respect everyone that's up here making comments. This is the process we're trying to have in place, so thank you.
Hi, Congressman Terry.
There's a lady at the microphone, please.
Hi. I was at your North Omaha town meeting, and there was a gentleman who stood up and spoke on behalf of his wife and his daughters and his daughter-in-law and so forth, the women in his family who make 77 cents to every dollar that a man makes. And he asked you about what we were going to do about that. And you said, well, you know, looking totally surprised. Like, well, what, the Lilly Ledbetter Act? Aren't there laws on the books? There are laws on the books. What's your complaint? My thought to you is that the Lilly Ledbetter Act was not about equal pay. It did not make equal pay the law. The Lilly Ledbetter Act was filed in the 90s after she had worked for Goodyear for almost 20 years at a rate that was way less than her male counterparts. Her lawsuit was thrown out because she had not filed, according to the court, within the however
statute of
limitations. Pardon me?
It's called the statute of limitations.
The statute of limitations. So and by then, she would have had to have filed a complaint in the 1970s before she even knew she was being paid unequally. The Lilly Ledbetter Act made sure that wouldn't happen again. Now, there is also, in front of the Senate, and I think there's a version in front of the House, called the Fair Pay Act, which will remedy problems with the fairness that we're supposed to have by law. It will revise remedies, it will be about enforcement, and it will mend those exceptions to prohibitions against rate discrimination. Because people can get away, and they do all the time, with paying women less. And we need to know, as women, that you know the difference between a fair paycheck and the Lilly Ledbetter Act. And we need to know that you will back the Fair Pay Act.
I will read it.
And I have one more question about wages. The minimum wage, where do you stand on that? If a person can work for minimum wage, 40 hours a week, and still need government benefits to feed their family.
I voted against the minimum wage.
Pardon me?
I have voted against increases in the minimum wage. I believe that market should dictate wages. And the issue of what role the government would have, it would be to have the education system where they could receive the skills necessary. There's open jobs in manufacturing plants in Omaha, Nebraska. They can't find employees with the skills. That would be more than minimum wage.
We are a services
right,
department, economy, not as necessarily a skilled labor. We have the skilled labor and we have lower. They have to be able to work. Jesus said, pay them what they're worth. Laborers came into that field, and those who got there just after a few hours, he still paid them the fair wage. 40 days.
Congressman Terry, my name is Josh Colzar. I'm from Omaha, Nebraska here. I'd like to say that I was born here in the United States. I'm a United States citizen, but I'd also like to make it very apparent that I did nothing to deserve that. I got lucky or unfortunate, just depending on how you look at the circumstance. And I want to give a brief history of how immigration happened in the United States. So people came over here that had no rights to the land. They took it from the people who were already here, and then they formed a government, and then they said, okay, everyone who's like us can be citizens. So that just meant Anglo-Americans at first. And then more and more people came, and so then eventually Scots and Italians and Germans could come, and then they could be citizens too. Our whole immigration system has been based on people who either like us or benefit us in some financial way. That has been what we've done over the years. Like you said, the quota system, it's outdated. It's really old, and you don't support that. What would you base an immigration system upon?
Well, I think there would be a lot of ideas on that, and I'd welcome yours if you don't like the quota system. The other is to have the U.S. Department of Labor involved to define what jobs are open and necessary to fill. That could be filled with immigrant labor, a guest worker program. So, you know, marrying up the needs of the economy with the numbers, I think makes sense.
Good evening. I don't come to ask you no questions. I just want to read you guys something for a minute, and I make sure that y'all gonna like it. My name is Jayon Rogers. I come in the name of my Father, Lord, and Savior Jesus Christ. My birthday is 6581-911. My phone number is 402-612-2111, 911. My name is Jaeon, which is Aeon of the angels of the Bible. I speak spiritually and truthfully, and I hope that this y'all should have no more questions for a while, maybe too many to yourself after this. I was born in Silas B. Hayes Army Community Hospital, incapable of acknowledging or understanding existence as a child, small, innocent, and vulnerable to the world. Blessed be thy name. Daughter conceived and delivered in flesh, born in the spirit and created in the soul, have only begun to understand the real me. Countless corruptive, concealing, collective cultures come, community created, creatively, caring, comforting, compassionate, compromising, correcting consequence, chance, confess, commit, control, communicate, charity, casual, confiding, camouflage, convicted, celebrity, crazed choices, crowds, calling, centering, seating, commander, crawling, clamor, cry, conscious, crashing, circling, capture, seller, conditional Christ, cause, counter-confirmers, common, come. Have fun in your life. Don't let anyone stop you until you're done, says thy mother. Go outside and pick your head up. Faintly flashes, fine flickers flow. Forgotten files, fragment free. You're a tough girl. You're Rogers, says my father, whose affection afflicts attention. Already, audacity, anxiety, anger, altars, alluring archangels, abandoned, alternative, appropriate augmentations, arrange, associate, avenge, authority, appear, acknowledge, adoring, appreciate. So smart she is. Tickle, trickery, talent, thief. Thoughts, tradition, tranquil, trust. Transform tongue toward teach, theology. Together, travels, triumphant. Endless experiences, expressed eternal encounters. Enjoyment, exciting, enlightening, enable. Essence, enter I. Entire, empower, earthly, engage. Effect, effort. Emerge, exist. Exclusive, endure, ever embrace. Element, evolved. They want me to stop. I see. One more? Okay, it's not a letter, so I wrote this. And within 30 days of 9/11, so something that everybody needs to hear. Because God is coming. Oh, okay, I will. I hope you too. And God bless you. I'll skip down to here for you. Because y'all ain't gonna want to miss on this.
We do need to kind of...
Okay.
Do you have a copy?
Yeah, you see, y'all can even understand. That's why I gave it to you. Y'all can understand it now. That's why y'all can understand it now. Unconscious, defined as unaware, senseless, and irresponsible. A human capable of murder is evaluated to determine the state of consciousness, his or her actions. The limit of truth and knowledge varies in each individual's capability or choice to learn. Every breath of air taken alive is also a moment to learn. Each social encounter or personal experience is a hint, clue, and sometimes an answer to learn. Problem solving is a tool used in schools and often left at school. Understand the problem, devise a plan, carry out the plan, and then look back. There's a few basic good tools, still good vision, ready for use.
Thank you. That's incredible writing.
Jim McGinnis from Omaha, Nebraska. Thanks for showing up tonight, Lee, to letting everybody here have a voice to you, our representative of our self-government. My question to you, I know the issue tonight has been immigration, which it should be here in South Omaha. Every issue that we face in this country is very important to all of us. Financial, immigration. I want to try to put it all together because unfortunately I'm a little scared for our country. And you probably know where I'm going to go with this, Lee. I didn't hear the Constitution very much tonight. That scares me. So my question to you is, our president last Wednesday and Thursday sent 5 cruisers over by Syria. And parked right in front of Syria. And then he turned around and he said Saturday to the American people that I'm going to ask for Congress's permission to attack Syria. The problem is it seemed pretty important. You guys are going to wait another week? You got our military sitting right there in the sea, right next to Syria, Mediterranean Sea. Let them hang out. Anytime anybody wants to do anything, that's fine. Article 2, Section 3, President's article says it very clearly. On extraordinary occasions, he may convene both houses, if not either one of them. If this is so serious, why is he not convening you guys as soon as he said what he said Saturday? Okay? Now I want to put all that together. I got a question for you, because I've heard somebody say this. Some people have said to you that you may have spoken to the American people since you've been in office, since 1999, when you were sworn in for the first time. You've come home and you've said to some people that some of these issues we're dealing with are so complex, we cannot deal with them. We got problems here. Well, Lee, you take an oath to the Constitution every time you get elected. Can you use that document, please, to take care of those issues? That's my question to you.
And that is my guiding document. And I use that document.
Let me just say this. You just voted on the representative from Michigan when he wanted to take away some of Amash wanted to take away some powers from the NSA. And somebody mentioned that earlier. You voted not to do that. So don't tell me you've upheld the Constitution, because right there you took away our Fourth Amendment rights.
Dan Fry from Omaha. Congressman, I appreciate you coming and appreciate you taking the answers and going a little bit long. I suppose you're wondering what's coming.
Yeah, usually when you get up, I have that.
Well, here's my question, and what I'm looking for is I'm looking for clarity.
Go ahead.
I'm looking for clarity, Congressman, because on April 26th of 2011, you were standing before the Douglas County Republican Party. And the issue at hand at that point in time was whether or not you were going to vote to increase the federal debt ceiling. And at that point in time, you'd made a commitment to the Douglas County Republican Party and the members that were present that the only way that you would vote to increase that federal debt ceiling is if we passed a balanced budget amendment with it, or if we passed the Paul Ryan budget. In August of that same year, you voted to pass the Budget Control Act, which increased the federal debt ceiling. It gave us the failed Senate committee to get the budget under control. And basically you went back on that. So the question I've got and the clarity that I'm looking for is, when you get back to Washington, you've got about 9 legislative days to figure out what's happening with the continuing resolution. You've also had a lot of feedback on this trip that we're expecting you to defund Obamacare or do something to repeal and replace it. Are you committed right now, Congressman, to not pass a continuing resolution that funds Obamacare?
I have not made that commitment yet.
Okay, and I appreciate that. I was looking for the clarity. And then last but not least, on the Syria issue, I've got to be honest with you. I stand here as I think most of us do, and I'm scratching my head saying, how can we even be debating this? We've got a civil war going on in a Middle East country, and this should look very familiar. And I will tell you, I speak from a position of being biased. I've got a son that wears the uniform of the Marine Corps. And as I look at this, it wasn't too long ago that our government prosecuted a group of Marines because on the battlefield they urinated on corpse of enemy combatants that they had killed. Now, whether that was right or whether it was wrong, we can draw our own conclusions. But we now have rebel fighters in Syria that are not only killing the soldiers of Syria, but they're cutting their organs out, Congressman. How can we be debating as to whether or not we're going to do anything to support either side, neither of which would give us the time of day? My question is, why are you not getting with Amash, King, Gowdy, and a group of others and going to Speaker Boehner and showing the leadership that says, Speaker, we don't even need to debate this. This isn't even up for debate. There's not a snowball's chance in heck that we should be intervening in this. That's what I'm looking for. Where's that leadership that says, I'm going to take a bold stance? Your position was, and I'm reading from your own position statement, is I'm reluctant to involve the U.S. military. Reluctant? I'd like for you to say there's no way in hell we're going to involve the U.S. military.
But then I did have a conversation with our leadership and told them that I don't support it. Yeah. So you and I have a different definition of how to handle the situation. When I told the speaker I disagreed with his stand.
Congressman Terry, can this be the last one here?
Virgil?
Right here.
Yeah.
Last one, okay, thank you.
Congressman Terry, my name is Crystal Craig. I'm from La Vista, Nebraska, and what I have is more of a comment instead of a question, because it seems like whenever someone broaches the subject of the KXL pipeline, you brush past it without an answer. But I'm curious as to why you are allowed to make a decision that is of this magnitude for these people when you're so ignorant on the subject, on the facts. Because the facts that you have are incorrect. There are plenty of experts that would be more than happy to sit down with you so you could understand that crude oil will not sit on the aquifer, the tar sands is not actually crude oil, that there has been a conflict of interest in this most recent environmental impact assessment. This is serious. I am angry. I have tried writing you, I have called you, I have come to another town hall meeting and I have asked you questions for you to gloss over them. This is a monumental decision that needs to be made. This is water that 8 million people rely on. This is not a joke. This is not something that you can listen to Big Oil and the Koch brothers on because all they care about is money. You are elected to represent the people, not Big Oil. Your information is excessively inaccurate, and I would urge you to please do some homework. And I would really love it if everyone who is in the decision-making process would actually read the 2,000-page botched report that nobody seems to really look at. So I am just here to tell you that I'm not going away, none of us are going away, my children are not going away, and I'm here to fight for my family, for the future generations of everyone, every Nebraskan that you are supposed to represent. I'm not going away. I am going to fight for the land and for the future and for the people, for every single person out here. The information that is available is incorrect. The jobs are a lie. The independence is a lie. It's going to go on the international market. And they're playing our fears. And we don't need it. We don't need it. And we are powerful, and every single one of you has a vote. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Virgil Armendariz Jr. You referenced me earlier in your speech. I want to tell you, they spoke to you. I'm very proud of you people. I'm very proud of your standing here and making your opinion voiced. I was really a little bit, I'm pissed. You wouldn't even look at it. How many people in this room stood up in support of an issue? Yeah, it took you a while to turn around.
No, I looked.
This is what America looks like now. This is what you should be considering, which I don't know if you will or not. You got to lock in, they said it earlier, you got to lock in and follow the Republican Party. They're not helping our country. You're not helping our country. John McCain said the best thing that could happen in the next few months is to pass a reform immigration bill. We need it, this country needs it. He said our economy needs it, and he's right. There's no reason whatsoever. You talk about the path to citizenship, you're not going to give it to them. Nobody's talking about giving it to them. The Senate bill talks about measures that will be taken for them to earn it. They broke the law, and they'll pay a penalty for that. The price of their citizenship and rectifying their violation is enrolled in the law. And that can happen as it could have happened in '86, as it could have happened in '96, and it could have happened when Hagel brought his bill before the Senate. You all turned your back against it, and you've all been wrong.
So I apologize that I was looking at the speakers and not enough over here. That was uncomfortable for me too. But I like to look at the people who are talking to me. So, well, that concludes tonight's town hall, and I agree with Virgil. I appreciate every one of you that have come here tonight and expressed your opinion. I will relate back to my colleagues and those in the Speaker's office and the Majority Leader's office, what I have learned from you tonight and the other town hall meetings, and I will continue to work. So thank you all for being here tonight.